Kids, get ready. You're going to meet Beelzebub. There he is, right there in the middle. And I don't know if that's a good idea or not. We have Reverend Mike Jones with us, and we'll call him Bub for this as we go through.
Bub works.
Bub works. And we're going to talk about visions of hell. This is something that you've been doing now for almost 30 years.
Closing in on it, yes.
It's amazing. We're going to talk about the reason for visions of hell, why it comes out at this time of the year, and the message behind it as well, and this guy too. That's all just ahead. But first, these words from our friends at Tomlinson Insurance.
This is Andy Tomlinson. When insuring what's important to you, our agents are there when you need us the most. Tomlinson Insurance, for the best coverage at the best cost. Visit us online at tomlinsonins.com to learn more.
Hades, Gehenna, Sheol, the underworld. These names refer to a place of spiritual darkness. But is this darkness real? Visions of Hell 2022 drive-thru will provide some answers for those with curious minds. With added attractions this season to keep you guessing what's next. Located at 1808 Masseville Road, former Massey Elementary School building, October the 14th, 15th, 21st, and 22nd. Each night begins at 7:30 with the final show starting at 9:30. Due to the intense nature of this program, it is not recommended for young children. For more information, call 740-773-0150. Visions of Hell 2022 drive-thru will change your life forever.
Pretty intense stuff right there. And you were the voice of that, right? Are we allowed to say that? Don't pay attention to the man behind the screen, right?
Sounds more like him. He kind of fits the mode. So.
Very true, very true. Visiting with Bub and also Mike Jones. Mike, you guys started this a number of years ago. Was it literally to scare the hell out of people? Can we say that?
Well, actually, it was a way of just reaching out to, some that maybe had certain questions that would come across our way. And I was a youth leader back in the day when we started this program. And there was just certain things that would come up and certain questions. And those questions helped us to form this program over the years. So
this has been can we say a great marketing tool in response to having people come to know the Lord?
It has been. And it is actually a great way. When you say marketing, outreach is so important when you deal with certain subjects, and this subject alone is one that you want to let people know that if you have questions, it's okay to ask them. There's some stigmas that, well, we shouldn't ask about the spiritual world, or we shouldn't ask about this or the other because I may be categorized as, not having all my faculties, so to speak, but are not dealing with reality. But it is okay to ask those type of questions, and Visions of Hell will help answer some of those questions.
And it's okay to question God as well. That's something that can happen any day. Just because you want to know you may not get the answer that you're looking for or the answer that you want to hear, but he wants to hear from us.
Yeah. He's allowed to say no.
That's right. That's right. I know this time of the year, there are a lot of different haunts that go on. This one is different, though, because it has a message.
It is. It's different in a lot of ways, but we'll just focus on one way. Most of the program comes from personal testimony. We're not buying a kit or some program that you can, they can, you can get off of the internet or whatever. This is all original information and research, and it's played out through the program.
Yeah, this has been kind of a labor of love, and when again, mixed messages when these terms I'm using, but it is truly a labor of love. First of all, it's fun to do. but the mission behind it, it has such a great purpose. And even Bub's nodding to this. He's in agreement as well.
Well, we appreciate that, and one of the great rewards of this whole doing this thing is we get to see some transformation. Yeah. Like I said, some come in with questions, some come in with misunderstanding about the program or about maybe the subject that we're talking about. We're able to clarify that, and normally they leave with a clear picture of where we're coming from.
We were talking just a few short weeks ago about this year's event coming up, and we talked about how many people you've had come through this over the years.
Yes.
A staggering number, I think.
That's actually a low estimate. Over 15,000 visitors have come through Visions of Hell, as far as from Kentucky to Indiana. And how it reaches some of those areas, we're not even sure, but maybe it's through Litter Media, so...
I think God has a way of making it happen too.
True. But it's been very rewarding to see, visitors from outside the area. But if you live in the area and community, we want you to come too.
Yeah. Now, is your church the only sponsor of this? Or do you have other members of other church?
There's other churches involved.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. We have some great supporters. I don't want to name drop because I may miss someone, and you didn't mention us, but there's other places involved. We do handle, we're the base of the program, so we write the content, do the research, but as far as other churches participating, there's some other places that participate, and definitely that support, which we appreciate.
Now, for a lot of folks who used to walk through this event, but COVID changed a lot of how you do these things.
It did. It was actually, and it still may be a temporary change, but we're going to go with the drive-thru at least one more year because it just worked, because we're able to actually bring through more people. I will say this, it is going to be different. It's going to be a larger, drive-thru this year, but it is still safe as far as if you're worried about COVID or any of the other things that may be out there lurking, it is going to be safe. You may not be safe from Bub here, but as far as some of those other things that have we've been cautioned in the past about, you should be just fine coming through.
But you can be safe from Bub and other demons as well. Just Mike has a message on that. I'm sure he'd be willing to share with you.
Sure, and this, when I say personal testimony, and some will get to hear some of that if they go through and they're willing to stick around for a period. But a lot of the people that are participating came out of different, lifestyles as far as maybe practicing some things that the Bible warns us against. And we don't come from a judgmental standpoint. We come from a standpoint of just making you aware of what could be there. And I think that speaks to more of the visitors than coming over, rather harshly. And at the same time, we believe it's one that they'll have a certain amount of entertainment, added in with the message. So if you accept the message, still definitely come. But if you're just coming forward to see Bub and hang out with his friends, that's okay too.
Yeah, I like the artifacts he's got. He's got a lot of bling on here today, but some of that is stuff that is in everyday life for some individuals, and they don't have a life guided by God. And you've seen the transformation in those lives just through this event.
Yes, sir, we have. And another aspect of our ministry is we do outreach, street outreach, and we've seen how devastating certain things can be, whether it's addiction, how dark it can be when you feel like you have nowhere to turn. You could be homeless, and you maybe feel like there's no answers there. So a lot of the things that come from the personal testimony standpoint also deal with how there were influences trying to make us go from worse to even darker, if I could say that. And it's a challenge out there, and it's one we feel like. I know it's only a 45-minute drive-through, but it's something that really does speak to quite a few people. I mean, 28 years, it's had quite a few people go through, and actually, I'm a pastor, and our youth leader and one of our ladies that does our church announcements, they came to our church through Visions of Hell. So we have some fruit there that kind of speaks to the effectiveness of the message and program.
I've heard a lot of messages over my lifetime of going to church, and one of the more impressive that I heard is "Don't miss the rapture," and it is stuck with my Sunday school class, my teenagers, and to hear them repeat that. This is a vehicle you're using to reach those kids as well.
Right, and you know, it is something that the message definitely will stick with the visitors, but we also offer at, you know, once they're completed some information that could lead them to understand there is hope. Yeah, and you know, beyond this world, and hope that you can have to encourage you to seek out, you know, a higher influence. We call that higher influence God.
Right.
You know, but we don't, I want to emphasize, we don't come over preachy in this. Matter of fact, some people say we could have a little more of that in the program. But we think we have an equal balance, and we give out over 100 Bibles each year. They're free. Literature is free. We do have a suggested, entry fee. But if someone doesn't have that, they're welcome to come through regardless.
Yeah, if you see the posters like this that are around town, and like this one here around town, you'll see that it's $20 per car, trucks, SUV, $25. But again, if you don't have that, they're going to see the show.
No one is going to miss this program, and we don't go by heads in the car. You could have 5 people. What's legal for a car? 5?
Yeah, I can't remember anymore. Just since they outlawed drive-in theaters,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
When you used to be able to get 10 people in a car.
Yeah, we don't make them sneak them in through the trunk like back in the day. So, whatever that's per car, that's suggested only. We're not going to hold anybody out of the program if they don't have it, because we want everyone to hear the message.
This is 2 weekends, not this, but the weekend after, as well as the weekend of the 21st and 22nd. And what's rehearsal like for something like this?
Interesting.
Yeah, because
Very interesting.
I know you got a bunch of church people together, and they're probably, and whoever plays Satan, probably has a lot of difficulty, I would think, putting themselves in that position.
When you come to the point of rehearsing at first year, you're probably a little more jittery, but as you go through it, there's a lot of fun actually involved. You may there's more joking around than you would think, because those 4 nights we're there. It's a very, very intense program. That's why we don't recommend that young children come through this, but it's really up to the parents or the guardian as far as that is concerned. So, but there's equal balance again of fun, and it's time to get down to business.
Yeah, I think a lot of us have gone through life trying to spook somebody every once in a while. Just to kind of startle them a little bit. But again, the message here is there is a hell to shun.
Exactly, and we want people to know that there are influences that some are very popular that may influence you to do some things that will not be beneficial in this life or the next life.
Yeah. We've talked before about how different forms of medium have been used throughout time, really. Ever since the electronic side has come around, in which the music you listen to, the messages that are in there, the TV shows you watch, the movies you watch, and the messages of people who really just want to make money and they don't care anything about morals. They're using that as a vehicle to get you, and some of them may not realize they're being used by the enemy.
Right, and that kind of goes with the scripture basis of the program. In 2 Corinthians 2:11, it says, lest Satan should have an advantage over us, we cannot be or should not be, ignorant of his devices and schemes. So we actually present that scripture in a kind of neat little a way of putting it. If I have a box of snakes, poisonous snakes, and we're in a room, and let's say we turn the lights off and I drop the snakes. Do you want the lights off or do you want them on?
I don't think I want either one.
Yeah. but if you have them on, you might be able to find the door a little faster.
True.
So we're actually turning on the lights so you can see where the danger is.
Yeah. And the Apostle Paul, in many of his messages to the Corinthians, Thessalonians, and all of them, some people look at it as a list of do's and don'ts, but they're a list of things to avoid.
Exactly.
And generally, when he writes all that, at the end of it, he says, and the like.
Right.
So
right.
You're going to learn more about that as you go through this presentation.
Yes, sir. And we try to place the learning factor in the program itself, and not actually having to counsel anybody, but just let the message speak for itself. And that's why I believe it's been so successful. And not just with youth groups, but like I said, those that don't attend church, and some that don't even, believe, and some that maybe even have different practices with their spirituality than we do. Everyone can get something out of this program.
Yeah. Sometimes you can't get those people into church, and you're able to reach them outside of the church.
Exactly.
In a fashion like this.
Exactly. I was amazed to see how many visitors don't own Bibles, or they know someone that doesn't have a Bible. So, and we have a great group of people that donate Bibles each year, and they're not forced to take a Bible. It's their option, but if they already have one, they know someone that would need a Bible. We'll make sure that everyone leaves with a Bible, if they want one.
Really like the message behind this. And I know it seems like you might be going around the barn to get to the message, but people like to be entertained too, right?
Yes, we believe in the message, compel them to come in, which basically means by any means necessary, even if you got to, play bub here.
Hey, how have you been handling that over the years? It's resting well with him. We can see. Mike, I appreciate you coming in and sharing with this, and Bub too. We appreciate that. Bub has kind of scared us in the radio studio when he walked in the door the first time. I wasn't expecting to see that, and he got a good laugh out of it too. I think it was more of a Christian hearty laugh, wasn't it? So,
we'll go with that.
Yeah. Anything that we've missed?
No, just come out and like I said, come out the 14th, 15th, 21st, and 22nd, and bring some with you, and we'll make sure that you have a good time, and I would bet that you would learn something also.
Yeah. Thank you again for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
Share this with your friends and let them know, because maybe they've heard about it. Now they can hear more about it from these guys. That's it for the show today. Thank you for watching a special edition of Litter Media Live. We're back at it again tomorrow at 11 o'clock with another edition, our daily show with Mike Smith. For Bub and for Reverend Mike Jones, I'm Dan Ramey. We'll see you next time.